had somebody ask me the other day, do you think AI is going to be good or bad? And I'm like, it's going to be both.
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
It is going to be both, no doubt.
It already is.
That's right.
You're listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, where HIPAA and humor collide to make learning fun. Your delightful hosts are Donna Grindle and David Sims. Relax, HIPAA help is on the way.
Welcome to episode 474 of the Help Me with HIPAA podcast. My name is David Sims of HIPAA for MSPs. Joining me is Donna Grindle of Carden. What's up, Donna?
Well, hello, David.
How you feeling now that you're like a week from being back?
Yeah, but you know, there's wild stuff. I don't think it's a good idea. They may not let me go back. We'll talk about some of it, but I hadn't even told you that in Ketchikan, Alaska, where we just were, they had like the worst landslide they've ever had.
What did you do?
I did nothing.
Look, I'm going to take this little rock with me. I can see it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. You know, we were just there. It's such a beautiful place and small, and they were telling us how, they rarely go 2 days without rain. And when we were there, it hadn't rained in like 11 days.
Oh, wow.
And they were, feeling a little uncomfortable about it. Well, I guess the rain started and something shifted.
Well, it must have been because it was raining here for 11 days straight.
I know, right? That was while we were gone, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it wasn't raining there. And when I saw it, I'm like, it's such a beautiful place. And I remember looking and like, oh, how that stuff is built up on the mountain. And there's some really cool things there, the way they had it built up. But I saw that, and I'm like, when we get to the other news that we're covering, that were kind of back-to-back things happening, I don't think they're going to let us come back.
Yep. So today's topic is using the free CSAM Toolkit. So Cybersecurity Awareness Month, that's what CSAM stands for. And luckily, we got it early this year because last year I think we got it the last week of September or something. It was like too late for me to use it.
Yeah.
Well, not use all of it. I was able to use some of it. So luckily it came out a little bit earlier this year. We're going to go over the toolkit and what's in it and how to use it. I mean, it's a tremendously valuable resource. I love it. And I'm already seeing other vendors that are grabbing onto it and using it. I got an email this morning from a vendor that we use that's kind of doing their own campaign side by side with it. So now I've got options. I can pick all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll go over that. And we do have some interesting news stories, as always, because, things always pop up every single week that makes us go, oh, my God.
Did you see?
Yeah, no kidding. So before we dive into the news stories, though, I want to say thank you if you are a listener, and be sure to share this out and to leave us a review. That's the cost of listening. Everything else is completely free. Double your money back refund. That's right.
Yes.
All right, let's jump right into the news because things are getting crazier and crazier. Last week, we talked a little bit about the GPS issues in airplanes, jets, and such. Well, so now we've got something else to worry about.
Yeah, the Port of Seattle, which is where we left and returned to on our cruise.
What did you do?
I didn't do nothing.
It seems like things are following you all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like these two stories came back to back because the Port of Seattle and SeaTac Airport, they're kind of all one big entity. And when you have these cruise ships now with thousands of people, disembarking, and then they're loading them up with another round of thousands of people about to get on. I mean, it's absolute chaos with people coming off. You got, there's customs to work. There's so much. That's just at the port. Then you get to the airport. And when we were there, I have never seen so many long lines in such a small area. like getting your luggage checked and then getting through security, just finding the right lines to be in because they were so long.
Wow.
I know. And Atlanta's busy and there are lines, but it's organized chaos. And it didn't matter. People were like, yeah, you go over there. You go over here. They had like, you would have to part the line so you could get to the bathroom. And there's one set of queues and then a little trail and then another set of, it was crazy. Well, now they're under a cyber attack and they're talking about how crazy it is.
Yeah.
That was when things were working.
Yeah. And now they have a suspected cyber attack going on.
Yes. Well,
or is it still suspected?
I haven't seen today the official line on it, but yeah, like you said, they can't blame CrowdStrike like Delta. So I don't know. When you sent me that, I was like, this, and then I saw Ketchikan. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be allowed back up there.
Yeah. So now we've got Alaska with an issue, SeaTac with an issue. Where did you go after that? You at home? So now we got to look for something around Atlanta.
Yeah.
That'll be next.
Yeah. I'm like a little leery.
You should be. This next one is interesting because I didn't know it was a problem. The headline is cyber attacks on railway systems increased by 220%.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not great.
Now, was there one and it increased by 220%? I'm going to go with no.
No, probably not. Yeah. So it's like every way that you could possibly travel. Mm-hmm. And as I sent this to you, yesterday, I think it was, I was like, planes, trains, and I think you know what's next.
Yeah. And we know that's doable. So it's happening all over the place, and it's a perfect reason for people to take Cybersecurity Awareness Month seriously.
Yeah. It's not just about protecting your business anymore or protecting the valuable patient information and all this. It's like protect everything.
Yeah.
And like we talked last week, this is the first time that I've ever frozen my credit cards because things are getting so out of hand.
Yep.
Before it was always like, yeah, I mean, I know a lot of my information's out there, but not all of it. Now it's like, okay, it's all out there.
Yeah.
So I've got to take all the precautionary measures to lock everything down and then be suspicious of every single, not that I wasn't already, but be suspicious of every single email, text message, phone call. My parents pulled up to the house the other day and I'm like, I don't know if it's you. Go away.
And they went, yeah, we know it's you then. That's our son.
Yeah. It's like a joke I heard one time. A guy said, we went back to my childhood home the other day because I was in town and knocked on the door and I asked the people, I said, can I come in and see what used to be my old bedroom? And they slammed the door in my face. And then he said, my parents are so just not understanding.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So let's dive into the free Cybersecurity Awareness Month Toolkit because it is the 4-letter word we are allowed to say. Free. Free.
Yeah, they don't get to do that anymore, that commercial. So, we go through different approach to this every year. And we always sign up both of our businesses, all of our businesses, the podcast, everything is signed up as a champion so that we get plenty of information and we're able to use it all over the place as we can. And if you you sign up as a champion and then you're listed there. But even now, you can download it. I found a place where you could download the whole toolkit without signing up. But it's a little different this year because CIS has gotten their Secure Our World, and we're trying to have consistency with messaging. And you know how important that is. Mm-hmm. With humans
It's branding 101.
Yeah. How many times is it? You got to hear it like 7 times or something like that before you actually acknowledge it the first time or something.
Yeah. I think that's one of the latest ones I've heard. So, and unfortunately, you can't do it 7 times in a row, like back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a book I read recently said, just understand that the 7th time you said it is the first time they actually heard it.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's something I should have read when I was, parenting little kids.
Yes. And one of the things that has been a topic of conversation amongst people who do awareness programs is that, this is about marketing now. Mm-hmm. It's branding and marketing, and we've got to continually have that message. So it's a good thing that they're doing this and trying to brand across the board, because it's not just CISA that does it. It's the National Cybersecurity Alliance that is also involved in it. So there's a homepage we'll give you a link to, but you can also just CISA Cybersecurity Awareness Month. That'll find it. You can go to Secure Our World, which is another CISA, and that's the entire program that is year-round. Mm-hmm. So this is available year-round, but there's a focus and additional tools and information released in October every year. So that being said, there is a webinar we have a link to that they recorded. It was a CISA webinar that they take you through. Here's how you get involved. Here's what's there. Here's the message we're trying to get out. Here's different ways that you can get involved. And then you download the toolkit and woohoo! So they have some cool stuff, and they give you kind of plan to use it. So I'm sorry, but the nerd in me. Secure Our World, Sal.
Yeah, when I saw you put it on there, I was like, statement of work? What is that? SOW.
It's a female pig. But the Sal PSA, they have one that they did last year, and they've then augmented it, kind of kept the same theme with the family. For this year, we can secure our world, but it has Joan the phone talking to the kid.
Yeah.
It's funny just looking at Joan the phone, but they were kind of mimicking Schoolhouse Rock. They even mentioned that, for those of us, in that generation who can remember.
Yeah, even the Rock. Characters look like it.
Immediately when I saw the characters, I'm like, Schoolhouse Rock. And that's before I saw the little webinar where they were talking about it, which then immediately, what I started doing. Same thing you did. Started singing all the little songs.
I mean, those things were so effective, man. I don't know who come out with those things, but genius.
Yeah, I mean, as a guy came up with the idea when his kid was like able to remember words to a song but couldn't do multiplication or something like that.
That was probably me.
Yeah. But then they kind of teamed up, and there's a ton of them, but the ones that, are really catchy. Mm-hmm. So immediately when I saw the little characters, I'm not paying attention to what Joan the phone is saying. I'm doing, I'm just a bill. I'm only a... and then Conjunction Junction, which sent you down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, thanks for that. She's like, did you read the show notes? And I'm like, yeah, until I got to Conjunction Junction. Then I got down a rabbit hole watching that stuff.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I tell you, it's like there's so many of them. Like immediately all of these came rolling off my head. And I do, anytime I'm looking, like if I, like, you see the Constitution, there's stuff that has it on. I immediately start singing, "We the people," it's just, I can't help myself.
Yeah.
But the tunes don't seem to be as catchy. I'm going to go try it again without going down the rabbit hole of Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
But Joan the phone is pretty funny. Hi, I'm Joan the phone.
Just think about how hard it is, though, to keep people's attention nowadays versus what it was before. So,
I know. But
have an
I'm
uphill
sorry,
battle.
even today, you should be able to get caught up in Schoolhouse Rock. And do you think so?
Oh,
The
yeah.
attention spans today?
Yeah, it's funny because I had this conversation with somebody the other week. We were talking about marketing, and somehow that got into people's attention span. And I'm like, people's attention span really is not any shorter. It's that what gets their attention is not quality anymore. You can't tell me somebody don't have attention span when they'll sit there and watch 3-hour Marvel movie. They absolutely do. You just have to keep them engaged. And I think that's the thing about it is we keep training people to get that engagement in a shorter and shorter time span. And then we say, oh, well, people must have shorter attention spans. Like, no, you're just giving them things that only require a shorter attention span. If you're actually giving them good content, they'll watch for longer. But, it's almost like every minute has to warrant or pay for the next minute of time that you.
Well, and it has to be because not everybody would sit and watch the 3-hour Marvel movie.
No.
So it has to be something that connects with them, which is the other part of marketing.
Yep, exactly. So anyway, little marketing stuff going on right there.
But
Take
I
it for
mean,
what it's
that's
worth.
essentially what this is, right?
Yeah. Which is to say, make it engaging, make it fun. I learned a long time ago that, there's 3 main elements to giving a presentation if you want to knock it out of the park. One is laughter, one is engagement, and then the other one is asking questions. So, do something that's funny, do something that's engaging, which is, I love to do that because people pay more attention because they don't want to be the person that gets caught.
I know, right?
What do you think, David? What was you talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you do the same thing when you're doing cybersecurity awareness training, whether it's during October or any other time of the year.
Yep. I had to start being very careful about asking questions in presentations because people don't want to tell me the truth when I ask a question.
Well, it's supposed to be you allow them to ask you questions, but
Yeah, so that's what I try to do, but then they don't want to ask me the question because they don't want me to know that is their question sometimes.
Yeah, asking for a neighbor, asking for a friend.
And then it's like, also, well, I need you to explain what I should do about the camera on my laptop, and can they, should I cover it? And I'm like, it depends on what you're doing. But people are like, well, you need to be able to answer that for me. And I'm like,
I can think of a lot of reasons you might want to cover the camera on your laptop.
I know, right?
And it has nothing to do with patient information.
Yeah. But like I told a friend of mine before who got one of those spam things about we've been recording you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I always love those.
He's like, I'm not saying that I did this, but how would one cover up? I was like, you got a Post-it note.
Yeah, pretty simple fix.
That's it. So anyway, the focus of Cybersecurity Awareness Month is to try to get 4 core, they call them the core. Remember the core, they'll say.
Yeah, the core 4.
The core 4. 4 behaviors that if everybody would do these things, I believe these 4 things, then we would not have as many problems as we do.
It'd make a massive difference. Now, I would probably add maybe a 5th one, but anyway, the 4 is a good place to start. If we could just get through these 4.
Exactly. If everybody's doing the 4, we'll look at the 5th,
That's right.
If 75% of the people are doing the 4, let's go. We don't even have to do 80.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, and none of them are shocking, and they're the same ones as last year.
Well, that's because, they haven't heard it 9 times yet. So for the next decade, you're going to hear the same things. But yeah, the first one, everybody should know this one by heart. Use strong passwords and a password manager. Now, this is where debate comes in, right?
Yeah.
First debate is passwords or passphrases. Okay, here we go. Then the other one is, okay, which password manager? Some of them have had security issues. Some of them are free, some of them charge. What about the ones that are built into your browser? All those password managers, the password keeper. But use a password manager. This is me speaking on behalf of me. use a password manager that is well known and that you feel comfortable with using. So whether that's Dashlane, LastPass, Bitwarden, 1Password, Keeper, there's a lot of them. And, we've had a show about LastPass and their issues, and whether they're on the other side of that or not, who knows? And there could be potentially security issues with any of the other ones that we mentioned.
Yep.
Either there and not known, or maybe even known and not disclosed. Who knows? So, but find one that you'll use. That's the most important part. Find one that you'll use and then use it.
Yeah, and it is possible to effectively use them. But you have to actually do it.
Yep.
It takes practice and effort, and it's learning a new skill and remembering rule number 1: security is not convenient.
Yeah, but it's not terrible. If you, I don't know about you, but the way I use mine, it's not bad. It doesn't really get in my way that much at all. The only time it gets in my way is when I need to enter it into a device where I don't have the password manager, and then I have to pull up the 32 character password and type it in or something like that. Then I'm like, Yeah,
that's just awful.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but it's worth it. When I look at people who have been through cyber incidents and hacking and ransomware, I'm like, you know what? I don't care if it takes an extra minute or two. I will do it, because the cost of not doing it is severe if something happens.
Well, and, the solution is use the same password in multiple places. You can't do that. You just can't, because all it takes is one place and now everything's exposed. So you can't do that. And you never know which one place is going to get hit.
Well, I tell you, I did that years ago when passwords weren't, it wasn't an issue to have one or two passwords. I think I had 5. I had 5 different passwords, and I thought I was the most amazing person because I had 5 and everybody else only had 2. But the problem was when it started becoming a problem years later, and I would get a notification, this password has been, found on the dark web. And I'm like, oh my God, that's on 40 or 50 different sites. Now I've got a mess to go clean up. So glad those days are gone. Yes.
Preach it, brother. All right. That's core number 1. Core number 2, turn on MFA.
Yep. Multi-factor, 2-factor, whatever it's called in your neck of the woods.
Yeah. Did you, they actually have cause there's all this, in the toolkit, there are social media graphics and messages and all kinds of things that you can work with. And one of them is a little graphic that says MFA, 2-factor, 2FA, whatever you call it, use it.
That's right.
Yeah. I like it.
Well, I can get on a soapbox on this one, but that's what drives me nuts sometimes about our industry is like, find something and stick with it. Quit changing what it's called, because people don't know it's the same thing called something different.
Yeah.
So leave it alone.
Well, they can't, because everybody thinks it's better. So anyway, that's the big thing. Turn it on anywhere you can is what I tell people. Just turn it on anywhere you can.
Yep.
And then the third is update your software. Please, people.
Yeah. And as easy as that sounds, that's probably one of the hardest things to actually do effectively.
Yes. Yeah. And people just don't want to do it. Well, it breaks things. Well, it takes too long. It's always, that I know that, my dad's diabetes monitor, every time he has to update his phone, that gets screwed up. You know,
Well, the other thing is a lot of people don't realize what is even on their machine to be updated. It's not like luckily your phone looks at all your apps and says, here's what needs to be updated.
yeah,
But your PC doesn't do that.
right.
So you go to run an app that you haven't used in a year and it's like, update available. Well, that means that thing's been out of date for who knows? Who knows how long? And so you either have to keep up with every piece of software that you've installed, or how about keep it, clean. If you're not going to use it, just uninstall it. If it's something you're going to use every once in a blue moon, I would just uninstall it and then install it back whenever you're going to use it again.
Yeah. So, and here's the question I get often. Well, just because it's installed, if I don't run it, then it's not a problem. And I'm like, have you heard of living off the land?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it has a flaw, the software's sitting there, they can use it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're using it is irrelevant. They can use it.
That's right.
So,
yeah, but it's hard. That's hard to do. This is one of those things I think that MSPs are really good for, is making sure they're updating their software, and hopefully they are talking with you about what they're updating. Don't assume that they're updating everything, because chances are they're not. Mm-hmm. We have software that we don't update unless the client specifically says update it.
For a reason you do that, because it's not something you manage normally.
Yep. We won't manage it. Even if we see it's out of date, we ain't touching it. Because I've got some horror stories where we're like, hey, we did a great job updating your software. Like, yeah, I know, you broke everything. I'm like, ooh, sorry. Thought we were getting ahead of this.
Yeah. No. It is important to understand who's updating what, who's zooming who.
Yeah.
So that is you're right. Of the 4 core, that's the hardest one. I think we're making progress on multi-factor. We're starting to make progress on the password manager thing. Mm-hmm. The 4th thing, recognize and report phishing. Better at it, but still get excited when there's some free something that you're excited about. So, but at least people are aware. But the software thing, much more. We got a lot further to go.
Yeah. Well, the downside with the phishing piece of it is that with the introduction of AI, it's now becoming extremely difficult to see what some of these things are. I love it back in the day when it was, oh yeah, there's a lot of misspellings in here, and it was just so much easier to find it. Nowadays, it's not so much. The good thing is that any reputable email service is now using DMARC and DKIM and SPF records and all this kind of stuff to try to validate domains and everything else, so that they can reduce the likelihood that those things will happen. But it's like I had a conversation with a doctor this morning that was purchasing a practice. So they come from a hospital system. They're purchasing a private practice from somebody who's retiring. They decided they want to completely get rid of the domain name that this practice has been using for like 15 years. And so I said, are you changing the name of the practice? And they're like, no, we just want to go with a different domain name. I'm like, no. I would advise you not to get rid of the old one. If you want to get a new one, that's fine. Do not get rid of that old one. Number one, you've lost 15 years of a domain reputation, which is not going to be great.
Right.
But number two, if I'm a bad guy and I see that domain go on the market for sale, I'm snatching that thing up, because guess what? I've got a domain that's 15 years of reputation that I can use to target people with.
And masquerade as you.
Yeah, I know. How awesome would that be?
And how'd that go? How'd that conversation go?
They said, yeah, thanks. We'll keep that. I'm like, you should. I mean, I still have my first IT company. I bought the domain in 1999 and I still have it. So, how many other IT companies have a 25-year-old domain? Not a lot.
Go back and see when I bought my first domain. Yeah. I have to go back because, somewhere in the late 90s, somewhere in there, right at around the turn of the century.
Turn of the millennium.
But it's definitely an important piece is domain management and managing your domains properly. People aren't doing that, and it is not good when that fails.
No. And it's getting harder to do. Used to, we could set up a domain, put MX records for, mail exchange records on them, and that was it. Well, now you've got, now you're having to manage the domain.
Yes.
Which is not something we've had to do until recently.
And there's so much in our domains because we use so many.
Yeah.
And and we cross chat on so many things. And it's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm in some IT and MSP peer groups, and right now there's questions are floating around. How do you guys manage DMARC stuff? Or and most people are like, we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to check it like every single day and look at what's going on with it and what's the reputation going to look like and all that. And so it's not something most IT firms and MSPs are even dealing with yet.
But it's coming.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
So, speaking of the MSPs, in that webinar, they do suggest checking with your vendors and your MSP for associated content for Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Just so you know.
Good.
And for those who are in Cardin Club, which is also part of HIPAA for MSPs would be part of it too. We're actually using this and kind of building the plan out and saying, okay, between here and here, send this email, post this thing, here's the newsletter, put your logo here. We're actually going through the plan and giving, so you don't even have to read the plan kind of thing of giving you the suggestions. So that's something that I had the idea and went to in our hangout and said, we're not doing this work if y'all aren't going to use it. Okay, we'll use it. I promise. So we'll see how that goes. So all you people, just so you know, you need to remember you said you'd use it. So if you're on social media, there's 2 hashtags they want us to use. Hashtag Cyber Awareness Month. I would say hashtag CSAM, but
yeah, Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Cybersecurity Awareness Month, hashtag Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Hey, that's a lot of space you're taking up in a social media post. And then hashtag Secure Our World.
Yep.
But it is cool. I mean, they've got the graphics and they even show you where you can put your logo on them and use them on social media. And they have these tip sheets that are like posters that you can use. And I was excited that they have AI. Stay safe online when using AI, which I was thrilled to see. And they are really cool. It's like, mind your inputs, because this is going, sensitive information doesn't need to be going in these things. Be privacy aware. Then it explains how hackers are using this and to make it just like what you just talked about, harder to tell. And to remember, and I love this part, treat AI as a helpful tool rather than a replacement for your skills. Please. Please, people, please.
Yep. And if you don't know, the ability to use AI to mimic talking to a person, even a person's voice, it is getting very, very good.
Yeah.
Which the good side of it is people are using this for like replacing call centers and stuff like that. To be able to do that.
We're using it to help build our training quicker and easier.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of reasons to do it.
And somebody asked me the other day, do you think AI is going to be good or bad? I'm like, it's going to be both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It is going to be both. No doubt.
It already is.
That's right. I just thought it was funny that it has to be one or the other. I'm like, no.
That's not how things work. That's not how it works. Oh, what is that? Oh, the old commercial posted on my wall.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. Speaking of that, there's also puzzles. And they have these little puzzles where you're figuring out words. But again, it's engaging you in a different way.
Yeah. Just don't use these words as your password. Like misspelling password this doesn't help.
No. Mm-mm. And if you're so inclined, they actually have another thing that's new. teach others how to stay safe online. It's a volunteer toolkit.
Okay.
So that you go and it gives you a little video with some ideas about how to go do this in your community. It gives you I think 4 sample PowerPoint presentations you can use that have speaker notes and a tip sheet, but it's designed so that you can use it with kids, teens, older adults, TikTok, and the general public. So anybody, not just, work, but also at home. And that is, a big piece of this is not just for your business. This is for your community organizations. This is for home. This is, if you're involved in any of these things, any kind of organization or your own family should know this information and have access to it, which my family is like, why would I do that? I'll just call you. But it does have a plan. So here's your plan. Here's what you do. You start by sending an email out to your list, whoever your audience is. There's a draft copy, suggested subject line. Of course, for us, we would take that little puppy because I have a pre-built GPT that changes things into my voice, how I would say it, what I want to say with my tone for writing. And I would just pop that right in there, change it up, add some little flair to it that's mine. But that's just me. I'm not saying. You can just take what's there, put it in there, and send it out that explains, hey, we're going to do a program with Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So you'll have that email introducing the concept. You can do a press release if you're a business, but you can do a press release that you just release internally.
Yeah.
So you don't have to the press release is kind of cool that they've got the it's there. You just complete it, make your own. Try to get leadership involved so that when you send these things out, it would actually be very valuable to have them resend it or reply all to, I think this is great. We're all getting on board, participate, but something supportive. I believe that alone has more pull in getting that engagement to work than anything else.
Yep.
And then you have all these options that they give you. You can do contest, create an event, gamification. You got the puzzles, create an incentive program, build an information booth that you have at the company. Do a training event, create some, it doesn't have to be, it can just be little things that are getting the message out. They have the tip sheets. Do one a week.
Yeah. This is a great list to just keep on hand for any kind of training so that you can mix it up.
Yeah. And so there are videos that you can send out. There's video series. They give you examples of so many things in this toolkit so that you can go do these things and sign up for the volunteer thing. And you even get the 4 sample, you get a separate toolkit just to be the person teaching it. And no, I haven't gotten it because I would probably make up my own stuff. And you can even get CISA and National Cybersecurity Alliance speakers. But by the time we get this, we just got this last week, and you have to make the ask by August 30th. So I'm just saying, we ain't going to be publishing by then.
That's right.
But CISA, you can ask for a CISA or NSA speaker at any time. You can request them. And they have 3 different sessions they're doing. Some good stuff. But wait, David, there's more. They have Cybersecurity Career Week. It is October 14th through the 19th, where they're pushing out education about careers you can have. We need the kids engaged in understanding, You know, when people are saying, yeah, so-and-so, they can't decide what they want to do. I was like, tell them to go into cybersecurity. Well, they're not that technical computer people. I was like, we need artists. We need marketing people. We need good administrators.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's a lot of different openings.
Yeah. And so NICE, which is part of NIST, but it's about cybersecurity education. And that is a thing that I skipped on what you're doing at your business. One of the cool things you could consider is to use some of the stuff for at home and make a kit for people to take home.
Mm-hmm.
So that they can just take it home and talk with their kids, talk with the, parents, grandparents, whatever, or they could use it in their own organization, because if they're doing that, they're more likely to do it at work.
That is true.
So, but they do make one very good point in their guide, and that's what I think we should end on.
Yeah, 100% agree. So they say, remember that cybersecurity education isn't limited to October. Use these messages to educate your organization and community all year long.
Yes, and community.
Mm-hmm. All the time.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity is not an event. It is a way of life.
Okay, yeah, I'm done now.
You can tattoo that.
Okay.
All right, folks. That's our show for today. Thanks for listening. Be sure to share this out again, please, to folks. And leave us a review. Leave us a rating. We appreciate those. And remember, for Donna and myself, that HIPAA is not about compliance. It's about patient care.
Help me with HIPAA. Let's get it right. Protect your patients day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with HIPAA. Let's get it right.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.